Ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Tim. I've been meaning to reach out for months. I was fortunate to have you pick me up at the airport last February and drive me to Big Sky for skiing. Long-time skier, but it was my first time to Big Sky. It was fantastic. We had a great conversation on the way up, and you told me, among other things, you had a podcast with your buddy Kyle. Since then, I've listened to many of the podcasts and also most of your Mountain Mule entertainment sessions as well. You and Kyle have done a wonderful job with the podcast. The positive difference from when you both started to now is tremendous. You both come across as smart, curious, and authentic. You're both willing to be vulnerable and self deprecating when this situation requires it. Great stuff. Really interesting guests. Please keep up the good work. It was a brilliant idea to do a separate feature interviewing local business owners, a great way to connect with the local small businesses community and provide them with a marketing opportunity. I admire your persistent intellectual push to expand your understanding of how to grow your business through the process of connecting with people and building relationships. I have every confidence that you will successfully navigate the journey to a well rounded business success. I'm returning to Bozeman this February for more skiing fun at Big Sky. I know you are a transportation mogul now and perhaps don't do many guest trips, but if you do, it would be a privilege and a pleasure to see you again. All the best. P.S. Congratulations on becoming engaged. So,
Who's that guy?
so it's a client from last year. I don't know if you care, but I'm just not going to say his name anyway.
Yeah, okay.
If he listens, he knows who he is. But really nice guy and we wrote up and that's a really special email for me because that's exactly, in my mind at least, a big reason why we started doing this podcast, because those are the types of conversations I had with people. And I
How many times you picked that guy up?
just once, first, that was the day I met him.
Dude, that is crazy that he would reach back out like that, and he knows so much information.
But I told him that, we were in the truck for an hour and 15 minutes. And however,
Where does this guy live?
somewhere back east. And we were,
So, like, it's not like you have a relationship with this guy.
no, but think of how many podcasts he's listened to. So he would know, he's heard a lot of what we've done, but I remember, this is the thing, I remember the conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I said it means a lot to me, because when I sat down with those clients and we talk about stuff, you remember it, and it feels very personal because
Mm-hmm.
it's an intimate conversation with the two of you. You're in a vehicle, and that's unbeknownst to me what the environment that was recreated when we did the podcast. It's a very similar environment to driving someone around, and it's forever. Because I remember I used to tell you, I said, man, there's this disconnection between locals that live here and people that have just moved here, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't. I wish they could hear what the other people thought, and this disconnection
Fuck.
of, these people are so mad that people are moving here. The people just moved here, and they're, I want to be a part of this community. I want a better life. I'm not here to try to ruin this place. Like every other hardworking American, just want a better for my family. So I came here. And remember when I was going on forever? We should start a podcast. What am I talking about? But I didn't realize I was just trying to recreate that
Right.
same environment where you
Mm-hmm.
sit down and you remember people and have meaningful conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to, you know who you are,
Yeah.
for sending that nice email. It's appreciated. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again in February. I don't know. What do you take from that?
I mean, I started to tear up about it. Yeah, it's super nice.
Yeah, it's cool. There's something really special about sitting down with people in here and people when I'm driving around.
Fucking crazy.
I know.
I don't even know that guy. I never even met him.
He has what? Maybe we're both down to pick him up when he flies in.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I've been having a hard time I've been having a hard time kind of juggling all these things in life. It's a really nice email. I've been feeling like I have not really been doing a good job at anything for a while now, and I'm just trying to like stay positive and optimistic, and that's been hard. And I think it's because I am trying to do things I've never done before, and so I'm not really good at any of them. With this podcast being one of those, and so that's really nice to hear. Just to feel like I don't know. I guess we are doing a good job.
Yeah, and I won't speak for you, but it's something we've both worked on, but it's not something we it doesn't feel like work in the way when we were working and making money because it's just improving who we are as people. So we wanna do it because we wanna be better people and have better conversations, and we've put effort into that, not because there's no motive beyond that.
Yeah, it's hard to like for me, it's been hard to like make time and space for it. It's like, fuck, man, I just want to like have a Saturday or Sunday off or a
Yeah,
night off. But it has, I get these little nuggets from these conversations,
yeah,
like all the people we've talked to, that that are helpful to me, so like selfishly,
yeah.
there's like I'm like, damn, that was a great conversation. I learned something. Um, and it's been weird. It's like, why are we doing this podcast? People think we I shouldn't think this because like, we don't y separate of the Mountain Mule Media stuff, like, we don't promote it at all. But
Yeah.
when people are like, "Hey, why," like, they think that you wanna get famous or something.
I'll tell you something interesting. I had a great conversation yesterday with a girl named Allie. She's an artist. She does these really cool paintings or drawings. She's got there's a different term that's used. And she said, we were, I was talking about the intersection it seems like a lot of artists have when they can create beautiful art and beautiful stuff, and then they don't have the ability or the knowledge to promote it
Yeah,
and to make a living off of it. And then people will almost get mad, or they'll say, "Oh, you've bastardized it because now you're trying to sell it.
uh,
Now you're trying to make money. You're a sellout." You've and but there's a lot of artists that struggle because they can create this beautiful art, but whether you like it or not, but it's sort of our the society and world we live in is you have to find a way to share it and show it to people. And a lot of people have been very fortunate with social media and the internet to do that,
yeah,
and a lot still struggle with it. And we were just talking about how does that affect, you know, how do you have that balance? And she said that this I'll show you some of the stuff that she's done because it's beautiful work. And she said when she's making it, she's never thinking, "Oh, I gotta sell this. Oh, I can make so much money if I do this." She
yeah,
said that's when it ruins it. But if she says this, I want there's something in this painting that I want to express in what I'm doing. And then once it's done, she's like, okay, now I'm going to do some marketing. Now, so as she described herself as very type A,
yeah.
but she's been able to tap into this creative side of her.
That's cool.
And I just thought about it for me because I struggle with it
Like
because
being creative.
well, what I really struggle with is making the switch because when I start to when I when I put the stuff on social media, I'm like, oh, am I just putting this out for the clicks and the views?
Yeah, yeah.
And if it, if I want to, if I want to be able to make a living doing it, that is part of what you have to do. Because if no one can see it, then no one can appreciate it. And I have a hard time with that. Oh, I don't, because I've never been someone who's on social media. I don't have a personal social media. I like to keep to myself.
Yeah.
There's no, like, for the most part, it's kind of hard to make a living keeping to yourself. So,
Especially it seems like in today's day and age.
and there's nothing I enjoy more than having someone like her come on and share what she does. And if someone can go buy some art from her and support what she's doing, that's awesome. And then I have a hard time, like, I feel like that's perfectly acceptable. But then for myself, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to. Like, I'm not trying to just make money with this, but I'm doing this for the love of it. But I do need to make a living too. So I struggle with that to this day of selling what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I love what I'm doing and I love doing this podcast, but I'm getting better with it. And I mean, you even thanked me for putting this stuff on LinkedIn, but
Mhm.
it's people. If I want this to go anywhere and do something, people need to know that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I can't, you know, it's not going to help promote anyone's business if I don't spread the word of what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know where that comes from of like not um it's kind of like not I guess I don't know. What comes to mind if this is like multi-layered, but what comes to mind is not wanting yourself to be successful or something.
Yeah,
Like what the fuck? Why would I sabotage myself? That doesn't make any sense. Like why would I not share this?
yeah. I could. I mean, I could go.
And maybe that's because like you don't want to be vulnerable.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's all kinds of, the reasons are probably pretty logical if I dissected every bit of my upbringing, and I could kind of see, the people you're around and the things you're taught when you're young that set in, and then you carry around those beliefs for the rest of your life. I could go on forever, but it's been a fun journey, and it's,
Mhm.
to some extent, it's been a public journey too, and it's relatable to some people.
Mhm.
But I still want to ask you what's been going on with you, because you said you feel like you don't appreciate anything you've been doing, and I know you've been working your ass off, and you have uh, at least outwardly, a pretty cool opportunity, a new path that you're on right now.
Yeah. I mean, I do. I would say that's like it's interesting. I've like on one hand, like I've never been more excited and like happy with my life. At the same time, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me. And like so it's both, Like it's and so there's like these opposing things. Um I say I'm getting the shit kicked out of me like I I have to remind myself that like there is a lot of positive things happening at the same time. And I've been thinking about this like I've been here before, and I've been actually saying that to myself, like, I've been here before. And, um, when you're kind of breaking into the next level of your life, or at least when I have in the past, like, I've had to, like, keep myself, um, from thinking negatively. And so that I think that's part of it is I'm back in a battle with my mind of, like, I'm working towards these things, but I've also never been here before in some ways. So I don't know. Things are really, really going really, really well. They're also really, really hard. And that's across my whole life with my career, with my personal life, with my relationship and with my mom, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like I'm getting the shit kicked out of me, but and I'm also feel like I'm giving it a go and I'm trying to do all of them.
Yeah, when you were saying that, I was like literally just sitting there in that emotion with you, and I was like, yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, so I don't
I'm like,
I don't
no.
feel like I'm doing a good job on anything, but I'm working my ass off, like, on all of them. But it's really hard to see the progress.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's why I felt like I couldn't relate more. And I would like to say you're doing a great job as a friend. Like I met you, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. And
Mhm,
like this is like a rare friendship that I haven't had, like these are like once in a lifetime friendships.
mhm,
I've got, some friends I grew up with back home, but I think about that and it's funny you can meet so many people and I meet more and more people at a more rapid rate these days, doing that other extension of the podcast and the nature of my business. And there's still for whatever reason, you meet certain people and you're like, damn, there's a friend for life.
mhm.
So I'll say you're doing a great job as a friend and the things that matter. And I don't know, every time I talk to you, it seems like it's a tough juggling act. You're trying to make a living for yourself and balance a career. And then at the same time, you're focused on your family and your friends. And it's a lot, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, um, it goes in waves. I have to remind myself of that, you know? But I don't feel like I've really been there for my friends recently because I've been working my ass off and I've been traveling a lot. Um, but it goes in waves, right? So I think, um, I guess I have to like look at it over not a 3 or 6 month period, look at over a long period of time.
Yeah. I always go back to this is how when I'm going through those waves and it's, depending on the wave, it can be a great wave or a terrible one, but I always go back to my roots on farming and the seasons
Yeah.
and just seeing the seasons of the year and the seasons of life and realizing they all need to change and they all complement each other. If it was just, if it was never ending bliss, we would never appreciate it. And if it was never ending misery, we probably wouldn't keep doing it.
Right.
But we need the contrast.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And yeah, so if I look back over the last year,
I want to tell you something.
things are
I'm
great.
going to cut you off
They're
right now.
good.
So I went and met with a good friend of ours,
Yeah.
Foster.
Mhm.
He's done the podcast,
Yep.
and he reached out to me because I, I'm, I'm saying it to you now. I don't know if I did before, but maybe I did on the phone. You could remind me. But he said he was talking to you, and he's like, "Oh, I like it sounds like you had a lot of stuff going on. I'd love to talk to you just about as the nature of his work, leading employees and doing stuff." And he said, I was talking to Kyle and he reached out to me. I was meaning to reach out to him, but like many things in life, we get so busy. And I said to my fiance, how fortunate am I to have a friend like that? That he was thinking about me enough to mention to someone else who's a friend of ours that, you know, maybe you could like maybe you'd be of help with him right now. And I really thought, how fortunate am I? So I'm cutting you off to say you're regardless of how busy you are, you're taking the time to be a
Mhm.
good friend. And you were taking time to spend with him on top of that. So you took time to spend with one of your friends and then suggested a way that you could help out another friend. So
Mhm.
give yourself a break.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, likewise. And yeah, it was fortunate to know him and you, and it's like nothing but good's come from
Yeah.
meeting with him. I
Um,
cut you off saying something though.
I don't remember what I was saying, but I have a different thought.
Okay,
Are you going hunting?
I haven't. No,
Do you have the tags and all that?
I do have tags. I've literally shot my bow once, which is
Okay.
nowhere near where you need to
Right.
be prepared. And I
What
honestly
about rifle?
I don't have a rifle ready to take.
Okay.
Um, I just
Isn't it so interesting? So does it, so can we pause here for a second?
yeah
So there's a bunch of shit that I want to be doing that I'm
yeah
fucking not doing because well, partly this is, let's just say this 50% excuse, 50% this is just real.
yeah
Is that like, I can't fucking find the time to do it. And I imagine you feel the same way about hunting. You're like, "Fuck, man, like, I wish I was shooting my bow all summer long."
You know what's even worse than that is how or it is what it is, but I can make the time, and I bet you would say you could make the
I
time
could
too.
fucking make the time too.
I can't emotionally be there
Fuck.
because I'm like, you know what?
That's the truth right there.
Yeah, I won't.
Fuck.
There's too much going on in my mind. There's too much going on in my life, and fortunately, there's I can take the horses out with my fiance and we can go for a
Mhm.
ride, and it's therapeutic, and it's we can do it for half a day or a day, and it to go hunting, especially archery hunting, it takes a lot. Just just knowing that you're confident enough to pull back on an animal, and you did your job to make sure that shot's going to be right and you're not going to wound it is the first thing, and then the amount of gear, the time you got to put in the woods.
You gotta get your mind right too.
Yeah, and to be worrying about 15 things going on here, I emotionally, I I wouldn't be there and I wouldn't enjoy it. So that's why I don't do it. And I have a hard time answering that question when people say, "Are you going hunting this year?" I say, "No, I got too much going on."
Mhm.
I could make time. I'm very fortunate that I've grown the company to where I have guys working for me, and I can make time to sit down and do podcasts with people, and I can make time to continue to promote the company and grow it. And but emotionally, I'm not there yet to where I just have put the right systems in place. And that's where it comes back to that. I was talking with Ali. You got to turn into that type A brain and say, okay, if this is a business, I want to build these systems. I want to so that I can put it down and walk away from it when I need, instead of carrying it around. And it's probably like work and everything else.
Mhm, mhm,
We don't put it down. We take our phones. Our phones have our email.
mhm.
I'd take my phone when I'm hunting because I'm going to use Onyx
Yeah, yeah.
because I need the maps.
Yeah,
Along with the phone comes my email and the text messages
yeah.
and everything else. And I just haven't built the proper systems yet. And that's why when you said that, I was sitting there relating to you. I feel that
Mhm.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it's interesting. I mean, you hit it on the head. Like, yeah, just like the emotional. Like, I got to figure out how to shake some of the shit off.
Yeah.
Like I'm carrying it around, carrying too much of it around, and like then that's like not helpful to myself. Um, yeah, and I noticed that a few weeks ago. I was like, man, I gotta take a little bit better care of myself here. And just like little shit, like going to yoga and I went to Pilates class yesterday. It was fucking awesome.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to cut you off at some point and say, since since I met with Foster and we were okay. He helps people with leadership. That's what we were talking about. And
Yeah.
this stuff, the reoccurring theme that kept coming up, and I think I told you I've read his book before I went to meet with him to try to maximize the time I was spending with him.
Hmm.
Is being present.
Yeah.
Is trying to thinking about all the things I need to do and haven't done is not going to help me when I'm trying to lead my team, when I'm trying to go hunting, when I'm trying to be in a relationship with my fiance or my family or anyone. And I we went away in July to visit my fiance's family, and I we had an extra day because a flight was canceled, and I'm sitting on my computer and I'm making a making a new system for my workout and my schedule because I'm just trying to get some more order to what
Yeah.
feels like a lot of chaos, and how to,
Hmm.
like, if everything's up here. So I made, okay, these are the workouts I'm going to do during the week. Every Wednesday, I'm going to do a yoga class. That's going to be my active physical recovery day. So there's a great yoga class on Wednesday that's called Active Recovery and Mobility.
Hmm.
And I said, I'll do that every Wednesday. That'll I'll just be able to rest, relax, stretch. And I've done it for the last 8 weeks straight.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, because that was the end of July we went.
That's
So
fucking
August,
awesome.
September, just one day a week, not
Yeah,
nothing,
yeah,
not a huge commitment.
but it's a big deal.
But I put it in my notes and I
Mhm.
look at it because I look at it and say, what have I been working on this day? When I look at the other ones, and like even those days, I made something that to really help my knee health and my lower back.
Mhm.
But I realized this at week 6 of the yoga, and then they just they get on your case about breathing the whole time, and I'm like, oh my,
I love that. They get on your case.
yeah, they won't leave you alone. So you're like, I guess if I was going to do it anyways, leave me alone. But I
You're like,
real
"Oh, fucking I just need a break," and you're out here on my case.
but I realized I'm like, oh, it's the stretching's great. It does feel good for my body. It's the hour of focused breathing,
Mhm.
and I realized that having a profound impact after 8 weeks. And then that
Is it Wednesday? What time is it on Wednesdays?
9:30 is it's a tough class to make, really. It happens to work perfect because I go meet with a business group from 8 to 9, so
Mm,
I'd go there straight after, and I just keep that block now.
mhm,
That's why I'm saying how lucky and fortunate am I that I can
mm,
build a schedule like that into my life. But I realized, and then in reading Foster's book again and talking with him, and it's still always about how can you show up for anyone if you can't even be in the present moment for yourself.
mhm,
If I'm thinking about my dispatch, how am I going to go hunting, and how am I even going to listen to what you're saying right now
mm.
if I'm thinking about next Tuesday?
Yeah,
Anyway, that was a long-winded way to say just being in the moment and being present in the breath. And I've been doing more and more to try to check back into just focusing on the current moment, and it has a big effect. I don't notice it when I'm stuck in my head, just criticizing everything I do. But when I take a few breaths, in a few minutes, I realize, oh, there's actually most of the answers are right here, and it's pretty peaceful. And
yeah.
I'm very fortunate.
Do you notice if you go to yoga and you hadn't been there for a while and maybe you've been stressed out, do you notice how literally you cannot, or I'm gonna say it a different way. When I'm stressed out and I haven't been to yoga on a regular basis or haven't been like just generally taking good care of myself, I go to yoga, I literally cannot balance.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if I've noticed it, but
So like I can do a move really, really well and hold that position. Like let's just say it's on one leg, right? If I'm like taking good care of myself, I can do that position and I feel great about it. If I'm like not taking good care of myself, I literally cannot balance.
interesting.
And if you think about the metaphor, it's kind of
Out of
wild.
balance. Yeah,
And it happens to me every single time where I'm like, "Oh, I haven't been to yoga in a month or 6 weeks. I'm stressed out as shit and my body's super tight and this is the really difficult class versus like, oh, I got this. Like this class is it's difficult, but I'm doing a really good job at it. And so it just I'm curious if like as you do it, I guess you're gonna, keep doing it. But
yeah.
if you do go for a while that you haven't done it and then you go back to class, I wonder if you'll notice like, oh shit, this is hard. Harder.
As my fiance would say, she likes to say, living in alignment with yourself.
Mhm.
And I think it's a cool phrase to meaning kind of being in alignment with what you want as a person, as a human, and what you want to be doing. Or if you know every day you're doing everything that you hate and you don't want to be doing. And I would think the closer we get to that, the more balanced everything's going to feel.
Yeah.
It's to me, the fact that that's what it takes is going to a yoga class just so we can remember to breathe, focus on breathing, and be
Mhm.
in the moment. But if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But for whatever reason, that I think there's so much of a sensory experience for me, kind of the hippie smell of a yoga studio and the music they play and all that. But it puts me in the right place to just be able to
Yeah.
relax, and you don't take your phone with you.
Right.
Imagine that, a whole hour without your phone.
Right.
Yeah, and if it varies depending on how much you got going on. Sometimes it's still hard to get out of your head, but sometimes you can just let it go.
Yeah, I mean, and, I've had spectacular yoga classes, I've had terrible ones, you know? I've had ones that I'm like, "Man, this is so great." I've had other ones where I'm like, "Damn," the whole time, like, fighting with myself, like,
Yeah.
"Why the hell am I in here?" You know?
Yeah, it's so interesting. This is a yoga podcast now.
Yeah, dude. Kyle and Tim's yoga podcast.
You wanna totally change gears?
Sure.
I talked with a guy who owns, some coffee shops here in town.
Cool.
He
Told him we're gonna put him out of business.
he sorta had an interesting perspective on all the development going on around here, and just sort of what the amount of what it's cost, to buy land around here and build these, and that a lot of these apartment buildings, a lot of them are gonna have different storefronts and stuff, and the thought is that the leases that they want and the price point is so high that what that ultimately is gonna bring is a lot more commercial, sort of corporate businesses, because a Starbucks and I guess maybe Chick-fil-A is not the best model, but a Lululemon, a Whole Foods, they're they're part of a big corporate machine where they they could afford to.
They can cover loss on one store and pick up another one.
Yeah, and they can cover plenty of short-term loss to build, you know, to get the brand out, and then, they can they can probably succeed, whereas a lot of, bootstrap businesses might not. Like, they just can't. That's such large overhead. It was easy for me to relate to with the overhead that's inquired with my business, with the amount of vehicles. And it was an interesting thought that how that could ultimately change a city.
Mhm.
Because, if somebody starts up their coffee shop and it's great, but they're really doing everything they can to pay those bills and get that place rolling and get a presence and a brand known, which brought back to the podcast and made me feel very good about having these businesses on. And
Mhm.
it gets tough for me because how do I h- who am I to say who's, you know, oh, this big corporate business, like I don't want to have them come on, but I want
Mhm.
to have this person come on. But the people that are still a lot of those people that are helping put them together are still a part of this community and people that live and work here.
Mhm.
We were talking about stuff like Costco,
Yeah.
and from what he understood, and he said this was enough for him to feel good about it, and he didn't look any further into it. But the Dairy Gold plant is here in town,
Mhm.
and that plant, from what he was told, has a contract with Costco.
Mhm.
So all the farms around here goes to that plant. That milk goes straight to Costco.
Mhm.
So he gets the Dairy Gold milk, uses it for his coffee products, and he's
Yeah.
great supporting the farms around here.
Mhm.
It's a cool idea that, everything else in Costco probably comes from overseas or who knows where.
We're all over the place, yeah.
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 But it's always for me,
Yeah, but then I think, it's also like y I think this is what you're saying, or part of what you're saying is, like, there's a bunch of people that are locals that work at Costco,
yeah.
right? Like, and Target and Walmart, and they're big stores, but, like, there's local people that work there.
Yeah, it becomes a moral thing, and then you start to ask yourself, well, do I take a little extra time and go support the local business that somebody started here? And they're gonna try to employ people too, and and then, how much money do you have? Can you spend twice as much to buy something local? And what, you know what I mean? So I think it puts us all in these moral sort of conflicts where, look, I love supporting local, family owned small businesses. I can't I can't always afford to.
Mhm.
And that's just the truth where then I'm just, hey, this is my reality. And when I can, I do. But when you're supporting a larger business too, you are supporting, people that work there. And maybe they're the first, maybe those people are not as important to the large corporation. They might be the first to get laid off when things don't go well. But if a small business isn't doing well, that small business is going to have to lay people off just the same. So anyway, morally for me, it's always been a battle, and I just do the best I can. That's why I really enjoy doing the podcast, because I can at least do a part to support these businesses
Yeah.
and my clients. I like providing it to my clients. That gentleman that wrote that email is a client, hopefully, and it sounds like he is finding a lot of good resources in there. There's a lot
Mhm.
of great businesses in there. So hopefully he can have 5 times the experience he had last year if he uses one of those businesses for something.
Mhm.
And ideally another 30 and 40 businesses will come on between now and the ski season, and there'll be that much more opportunity for the businesses and my clients. Great. Win-win for me and them
Yeah.
and the client.
Yeah, I mean, I think what part of what you're doing is with the podcast, you're, like, opening a window to, like, who the true business is,
Yeah.
right? Because people have an idea um, of, like, "Oh, well, that business is, does this or that, and the owner is this person," right? It's like, well, maybe they're not.
Yeah, we
Like, you
definitely.
don't know their story, right? And so then you find out with your podcast. So, like, I'll give you an example that somebody was talking about was, and this was just like this was an observation of somebody of an observation of somebody else who posted something on social media. So, like, somebody came to visit Bozeman. They were here for a week, and they kept going back. They like posted this online. They're like, "Oh, I went to this coffee shop 3 times. It was such a great experience. Like, I really liked Bozeman. I really liked this particular coffee shop, and they really enjoyed themselves." Well, then somebody else, and so that was their post, right? Well, somebody else posted, "Hey, do you know that that coffee shop is owned by a Trump supporter?"
Oh boy.
And so then this person was like, "No, I didn't know that. Thanks for letting me know. I will no longer go back to this coffee shop anymore." And I'm thinking to myself, or this is what we were talking about. It was like, well, you had a great time
Yeah.
and you said you liked it. And so it's like, like shit. Like, and my point is, like, now that they like have this idea that like they think the owner is a Trump supporter, and like, what's that mean? And then it's like, well, there's probably a lot more to this whole story here of like, like just because somebody's a Trump supporter doesn't mean they're a bad person, and um anyways, and maybe it wasn't a Trump supporter. It was like that person voted for Trump or whatever. My point is, I think it's cool that these local businesses have an opportunity to like tell their story, and I think it seems as though most people that you're interviewing are being very authentic.
And this speaks, at least for me, to my appreciation for the podcast, my appreciation for being in the transportation business and building those connections with. I talked about this as well with that gal, the artist from yesterday, is when you can look beyond that stuff and you can see the humanness in people, you you won't get so hung up on these crazy ideologies and these political leanings, and you'll realize that we all have our biases, myself and everyone else, because we were raised around a group of people and we were told things, and some of our ideas have been corrected and worked out and some haven't, and some will persist forever and some won't. But behind all those, that kind of surface level bullshit is another human being. Generally there's some exceptions, and there's plenty of people that seem, I don't know if beyond repair, or they're just um it's hard to say, but most people are trying to do the best they can for themselves and their family in this community. I would say that the vast majority. There's some real extreme people, leaning left, right, and center that are just so obnoxious and
Mhm.
somehow have a lot of evil in their heart. But when you can get beyond that and you talk to most people, as I have and you have when we sit down here, is regardless of which way they lean politically, you see the humanness in them and appreciate them as a person.
Mhm.
And I know there's been a big variance in the people we've had on, and there's none of them have sat down and been like, man, I don't like that person. Most of the people, especially the ones that are really vulnerable, kind of hear them tell, like we all have our shortcomings and everything we did wrong as we were younger. And then you
Mhm.
see an evolution as they gained a little more experience and wisdom, and then you start to have an appreciation for them.
Mhm.
And that's the scary part about the internet is you'll get a 30-second sound clip because if you know how many you could make of me and you,
Oh, man.
people could hate us with half the things we've
Oh, yeah,
said.
if you just
If
make a
oh
little
yeah, if
clip.
we made sound clips of,
Please don't do that.
but if you listen to the whole episode and the whole
Yeah.
show, you'd realize, oh, there's a
Fuck. Never
people
thought
are
about that. We gotta stop doing this podcast.
people vary widely, and there's so much depth and nuance that if you don't if you don't give them a chance, so
Well, I mean, like, look, we talked about this a little bit. If you go back to that, like, and I've talked to some people about this, and so I guess I'll be vulnerable and talk about it on the in the internet. Is like when Trump first got elected on this go around, there were several months there. I was like, man, they're making some progress here. Like this could be turn out to be a good thing. The Doge thing was exciting to me. I was like, man, there's so much waste in the government. Like we're just our money's kind of just being wasted, taxpayer money. So I was excited about that. And I just felt like there was some momentum. And now I'm like, now it's just kind of I feel like it's just kind of back to being a shit show,
yeah,
and I'm like, fuck, all right, that didn't work out so well. But I admitted, will admit that like I was like, this could work out. This could be exciting. And um I guess being vulnerable there of like, yeah, like I was supportive.
yeah,
Um, um, I think maybe I was, I would say naive, and now I just kind of think there's a lot of noise and I think the political machine is bigger than people think it is. Um, anyway, my point is like, it's okay to be like, hey, I was wrong about that. And, and so your ideas can change in a matter of 6 months or 3 months or a year or over short periods of time. I'll also say like I listened to on a Diary of CEO podcast. I listened to one with Gavin Newsom. Dude, so impressed. I was like, my in the past, my I was like, fuck Gavin Newsom. Like
yeah.
I just didn't like the way he sounded. I didn't like what he's had to say. But this podcast, I was very impressed with him, and I was like, whoa, you know, um, he he seems like a much more normal person than the clips of the information that I've got from him. Now, what I will say is, I also think that even listening to that podcast, that's probably not all 100% accurate either. And so, I guess what I'm getting at is like it's kind of constantly evolving of like, oh, I'm impressed with this piece of
Yeah.
information. I like this piece of information. I don't like this other one. Um, and so I guess that's also happening to you and I and with you and I constantly.
I the when you said the Trump Elon or the Trump thing, I just thought of the Trump Elon thing in hindsight, and I'm like, oh my god, that was a great example of a honeymoon phase.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, and what we were is when two people were in a honeymoon phase, and
We were in one too.
they were telling us they were so in love when we were saying we're so happy for you guys. This
Yeah,
is so
yeah,
great. It's gonna
yeah.
work out great. And then 6 months later, we're like, oh, whoa, I guess that was really toxic.
That was a
there was
crash and burn.
it was hilarious that I mean, it's not even hilarious, but I don't know. Are we ever surprised? Do we really say, oh my God, I'm so surprised? that's just a very large public display of humans and human nature
Mhm.
and the vastness of how different we are and how similar we all are at the same time.
Mhm.
But this is probably one of my favorite things, my biggest takeaway from the podcast and driving so many people around is when I see somebody, acting as I would view terrible,
Mhm.
being really difficult, whatever. I can look at them and say, "Oh, okay, I'm seeing a soundbite of this tiny bit of their life, and there's so much information I don't have." And I bet you if we
Like
sat
they're stressed out about their travel or
yeah,
whatever.
if we sat down for a few hours, they still might not be my favorite person. They're, I'm sure there's plenty of people that I've talked to in this studio and that I wouldn't want to go have dinner with even after, but I'd understand them a little bit better, and that's okay because there's just so much nuance to a human
Mhm.
versus, one how many times I've been a terrible person more times than I'm proud to admit. And if people only saw me in that one example, they have a pretty bad impression of me, and that's all you can hope for is some grace then. That
Yeah. I think it's, I think when I have my worst behavior is when I'm, like, generally, like, just stressed out, I'm, like, overworked, right? That's, like, when I have poor behavior. That if you combine that at the same time with something that scares me, I think that's when my worst behavior comes out.
yeah, think about it. It's probably like the when you feel like the opposite of how you do after you go to a yoga class. We
Mhm.
brought it back to the
Mhm.
yoga
Yeah.
class.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think, and I think people who are, um, the whole, like, political, confrontations, it's all fear-based, right? Like, it's like somebody is scared of something. They're like, "Hey," they're scared that they're gonna take XYZ rights away, and they're scared that, these other things are gonna happen. Um, that's what they're really talking about, it's like, I don't like this person because I think they're gonna take away these things that are important to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I mean,
it's a fear thing.
even if you look at someone political, though, maybe you had a terrible experience with someone in your life growing up, and they acted just like that person.
Mhm,
Same patterns, and like you would naturally despise that person and that type of behavior.
mhm,
So, at least in my observation, people will take a lot of their upbringing from their caregivers or their parents, and they'll have very similar traits, or they'll have drastically the opposite, depending on depending on who they are as a person and how they interpreted the people around them.
yeah. Yeah, like, the Charlie Kirk thing's been interesting. I don't really know anything about the guy. I'd seen him, like I'd honestly seen a bunch of shorts of him,
Yeah,
and I've seen shorts from both sides, where I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh, this guy's a dick." I'm like, "Oh, well, actually, this guy's great," and vice versa. Um, and so I'd think, like, the last 5, 6, 7 years, I've seen, like, shorts of him, but I've never, like, seen him on a podcast or followed him
yeah,
or really, but it's been interesting, like, I've seen people I've literally seen the opposite, both things of, like, he was such a great person, he was totally terrible, you know? And I'm like, "Hmm, this is like." It's just interesting to be like, I know nothing about this guy really, and he's clearly he was, I guess, a lot bigger than I thought he was because people are talking about him.
yeah.
Um,
It just depends on what world you're in all the time.
mhm, mhm.
Regardless, you know, no one no one deserves that, and it's just terrible
Right.
with his kids and his wife. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I honestly don't know any of the details, and I've, like because my emotional battery has been really low, like, I've decided not to look into it.
Yeah, I know he's just got 2 young kids and a wife, and he's 31 years old, and
Yeah,
he's regardless of whatever you believe or I believe, there's no one,
right,
it's not justified,
right.
and it's just sucks.
Mhm. Yeah.
What else are you doing the rest of the day, man?
I got a yoga class at 4.
Nice.
Um, just trying to get some stuff done, man, like, uh, my dishwasher broke, and so I got some parts. So I'm gonna try to fix the dishwasher, like, right after this. Should take me about an hour and a half, I think, if it goes well. Um, yeah, so, like, just catching up on some stuff and then, yoga this afternoon and get ready for next week.
I gotta do our ad read too.
Or what?
Our ad read.
And who's that?
Today's podcast is brought to you by Ekam Yoga. You can sign up for classes online at ekamyoga.com. Enter code Kyle and Tim podcast to receive 95% off your next yoga class.
If you sign up with this code, you will get a lifetime free yoga classes at Agam Yoga.
There's not anywhere to enter your coupon code. We don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I think Bailey would really appreciate that.
Yeah. But really go support her and do yoga at her studio.
Yeah,
I love the spot.
it's great.
Yeah. Anything else, man?
Mm,
It's good to catch up.
yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
I don't think so, man. I think we handled all of it.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
There's your answers. Get to work, folks.
Yeah, go to yoga.
See ya.